FUAD here for Behind the Gloves and joined by Eddie Hearn. Let's jump straight into it, no wasting time. Big news last night, Miller, obviously, with the whole drug scandal. When it's a fighter under your promotion, how do you sort of approach them and deal with it with them?
Well, generally they'll have teams. So although, we had a promotional relationship with Jarrell Miller, that is done through his management team, really, and his co-promoters as well. So they've been handling the situation. I'm more concerned in this instance about my fighter in Anthony Joshua and what we're going to do about the show and who he's going to fight next. So I have to act on that. In terms of what you've done, you're done. You failed a drugs test. You'll be dealt with by somebody, not me, because I'm not the commission, but you'll be dealt with, and now we'll get focused on what we're going to do for June 1. So I wish it hadn't happened, but every day that passes, you probably heard me say earlier, I'm glad that we found out, because this is a fight game, and I don't want people going into the ring with an edge physically in such a damaging sport. So in that respect, I'm very glad that we found out that this was happening with this particular fighter. And again, he's pleaded his innocence. He might have been unlucky. It might have been intentional, might have been unintentional. Doesn't matter. He's failed a drugs test, and everybody has to be dealt with in the same way. With
the reputation of matchroom boxing, is there sort of a disciplinary act to take upon him if he does get a license back in the future?
There's not a disciplinary act. It's just personal preference. And that's my decision, to be quite honest. And you've had situations before where, look at Alexander Povetkin, right? He failed a drugs test. He was mandatory with Joshua. I don't have the power to say, no, we're not fighting you, because we lose a belt. And if someone's going to put them on the show, if they're going to fight, then and they're cleared and they've served their time or they've served their ban, what do? Every fighter will plead their innocence. Some are telling the truth, some are lying. It's hard, because there's been situations in the past where I've believed people and I've given them chances perhaps I shouldn't have, but it just comes down to personal preference. But for me, anyone who's trying to get a physical edge from the sport, in this kind of sport, should be booted straight out.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but he failed a drug test when he was kickboxing as well. So with the whole situation, do you think this was his biggest fight for his life, really? And would you say he deserves a second chance for a world title shot? A unified world title shot as well?
No, he's out of this fight. Unless this B sample comes back negative, which means he wasn't cheating, he's out of the fight. It's very unlikely. But does it? Look, that's like a life question. Does someone that's committed a terrible crime, who's gone to prison, who comes out, do they deserve a second chance? Do you know what I mean? Well, I don't know. It's a tough question to answer. What I know is, I'm glad we found out that the guy that was going to fight Anthony Joshua at the Garden had stuff inside his body that would have given him a physical advantage in a fight. And I'm glad that we've dealt with that situation. Now we bring in an opponent, we make sure they're clean as well, and we make sure they're ready to fight. And we want to make sure that's a great fight.
Miller brought both ranking and attraction. People knew him, and he was ranked high.
Only after a while. When we announced the fight, there was a lot of people moaning about that fight. It was only when the press conference ran out.
That's gone to waste, hasn't it?
Exactly. It cost a lot of money as well. So it's not ideal, but life ain't ideal sometimes.
What's more important now? Is it more bringing a ranked fighter or attraction? Because this is
I want to bring someone who wants to win, who's coming to win. That's coming to win the world heavyweight title and cause an upset, rather than someone who's going, make a few quid here. And listen, it's only 6 weeks. I'm not fit, but my corner can pull me out after 4 rounds. I'm not interested in that. I want someone that's going to give every ounce of their soul to try and cause an upset that will go down in history. It is the Anthony Joshua show. It is Madison Square Garden. But we still want a dance partner. And we've got a lot of options, and that'll all be unearthed over the next few days.
Let's move on. Kell Brook was supposedly meant to be on the undercard of that June 1st. There's reports he wants to fight Crawford after Khan, should Crawford beat Khan. As his promoter and at this stage of his career, what would your advice be to Kell to moving forward?
I've been through a million ups and downs with Kell Brook, and Kell is only going to get focus in his life and his career if he's up against it. And having a tick-over fight or a fight that he's not up for at this stage in his career, as we saw in his last fight, will only result in poor performances. So he just wants a big fight. Whether that's Khan after what happens this weekend, whether that's Crawford, which Top Rank, you know,
at 147 again. And
yeah, but look, I just think he wants to dive into the monster fights. That's all. He's done. He's won a world title. He's defended it. He's been in some big fights. But I just think at this stage in his career, he wants the biggest payday possible. That's what, quite honestly, that's what. And he's trying to win.
Yeah.
But you know, he wants to leave the sport with, as a lot of fighters do, financially in a great place.
This show, Dave Allen topping the bill. A year ago, he was in Sheffield, and that was a headbutt, I think, that sort of caused the.
Yeah, I was gutted with that, because that was, and he trained hard for that fight as well.
But in a year, you said to him in a press conference in Newcastle, I think, this is sort of your last chance, and now he's headlining it. In his career, I know you said you want to make sure he's financially well after, but career-wise, boxing-wise, what do you expect of him should he come past Brown?
I'd never know what to expect of Dave Allen. I think that's what's one of the most exciting, endearing things about him. For the first time, he's put his heart and soul into his camp. He couldn't have done any more. Yeah. And as an athlete, that's all you can ever ask of them. Yeah. You know, to make sure that when they're on the start line or when they're about to hear the first bell, they've done everything they can, and he has done it. So win, lose or draw, I'm proud of him on Saturday. I don't know what he's going to do. Like, it could be the best fight you've ever seen. Might be terrible. You know, he might get knocked out in the first round. He might knock Lucas Brown out in the 12th round of a war. But it'll be enthralling. It'll be exciting. He'll be vulnerable, as he always is, and that's why people love him. The one thing I will say is I love feel-good stories, but you combine a feel-good story with a big win. It goes a long way. And I'll tell you, if Dave Allen wins on Saturday, he's going to be in a big fight. Not June the 1st at Madison Square Garden, but he's going to be in a big fight. Yeah. And good luck to him.
Yeah, I've seen that meme. You're going to press the Dave Allen button, maybe.
Oh no, you won't see it for June the 1st.
Okay. Eddie, thank you very much for your time.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And we also have a free app available on iTunes and Google Play, so make sure you go and download that. Bye Fight fans.